Let's catch up on the Diddy trial. We're going to do a recap from day 13 to today. Now, we ended up on day 12 with Mia on the stand. Now, this isn't her real name. This is what she's using to protect herself, but she was on the stand last. Mia was his ex-assistant, and she had a lot of horrific things to say about her time working for Diddy. She was terrified, fearful of her life, her job, her career, etc. Today, she continued testifying on the stand, and when asked if she's able to work today, she said no. She has not been able to work since working for this man because she says she has severe, complex PTSD and has not worked since. Just a side note as well, this is also the day that Trump teased that he may pardon Diddy. Someone asked him if he would do this, and he said basically that no one had asked him yet, but that he'd have to consider it and look at all the facts. Day 14 started off with Mia still on the stand for the third day in a row, and this time she's being cross-examined by Diddy's lawyers. She was grilled. They were asking her lots of questions about why she didn't tell people things, asking her about texts and emails. All of Diddy's former employees that have testified so far may be building the prosecution's case of a criminal enterprise where he is basically getting all of his employees to do all these illegal activities, and he's doing this with threat of harm or even death sometimes. After the cross-examination of Mia, there was one other witness called to the stand today, and that was Sylvia Oken. She is the area director of sales and marketing at the Beverly Hills Hotel. She was on the stand and basically just said that Diddy used pseudonyms, so fake names, when he checked in. She said this is extremely common with most celebrities. The names he used, however, were Philip Pines and Frank Black. And if you recall, when all the prescription medications and things were found in his hotel, one of them had the name Frank Black on it. Day 15 started off kind of interesting. This woman had to be escorted out. She was in the gallery screaming and cursing, saying everyone's laughing at Diddy and they shouldn't be. She's a regular spectator. She's been there most days, and she's definitely a supporter of his. After the screaming incident, they escorted her out. Eddie Garcia took the stand next. He was a security supervisor at the hotel where Diddy was attacking Cassie. He said when he first watched the footage, he didn't recognize either of them, and he was told later that it was them. He said that no police were contacted and that Cassie didn't want any medical assistance. He testified that Diddy and Diddy's team actually contacted him on his personal cell phone, which freaked him out, asking him to get a hold of the tape and that it would ruin Diddy's career if he didn't get it. And he basically told them, I don't have access to this, I can't get it. And they continued saying that they would take care of him, which he assumed meant financial. Garcia says he talked to his boss, and his boss said he was willing to give them the only version of the tape for $50,000. And Garcia says he was uncomfortable with this, so he FaceTimed Diddy and Cassie and had Cassie tell him that she also wanted the tape because she didn't want it leaked. As part of the deal, Diddy actually made him sign an NDA, and it was presented in court. And in the NDA, it said that he was not allowed to talk about the situation and that he had to destroy all other copies of the film. After security signed the tape, he shows up with a paper bag of cash and a money counter. And Garcia said he started laying out the piles of $10,000, and the deal was 50 grand. But Diddy does the money counter and counts out 100 grand and says it's for the other security guards. Garcia said he was making $10.50 an hour, so this money was huge for him. He ended up getting $30,000, and in the NDA, it stated if he talked about this, he was going to owe Diddy $1 million. Derek Ferguson took the stand next. He was the chief financial officer for Bad Boy Entertainment, and he did this from 1998 to 2017. He said he handled everything from budgets and salaries to financial deals. He ended up testifying about credit cards and bank accounts and everything financial, which is extremely important to this case. Prosecution started showing him financial records, including a bank transfer that was done December 23rd of 2011 from Ventura's father. And if you remember, at that time, Cassie testified that Diddy threatened to leak the sex tapes if her family didn't give him 20 grand. That was the end of day 14, and day 15 started off with a video expert taking the stand. His name was Frank Piazza, and he is a forensic video expert. And what ended up happening is prosecution got him to watch the footage of Diddy, what he did to Cassie, and they went through it step by step, verifying that it was authentic and not faked in any way. This was extremely technical and I'm sure very boring for the jurors. However, it made them watch the video of what he did to Cassie extremely slowly and step by step. Cassie's friend took the stand next. It was Brianna Bongalan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She is the woman that Diddy apparently hung over a 17th story balcony. And Cassie had put this in her lawsuit but didn't name her friend. And Cassie also testified it during her trial. Brianna testified that this did in fact happen in 2016. She said that he dangled her over the 17th floor balcony, then eventually brought her up and threw her onto some balcony furniture. She said the situation left her with night terrors. She often wakes up screaming. She also said she witnessed lots of other situations as well, including one time where Diddy, in the middle of the night at Cassie's apartment, threw a knife at Cassie, and then Cassie in return threw it back, and luckily both of the throws missed. She said one time Diddy said to her, "I'm the devil and I can kill you." She said when he dangled her over the balcony, she actually had no idea what was going on, but he kept saying to her, "I know what the F you did." She alleged that Diddy or someone from his team FaceTimed her after, and she said she wanted no problems with Diddy. But after Cassie came forward with her lawsuit, she also came forward and was suing Diddy for $10 million for what he did to her with the balcony incident. That was it for day 15, and on day 16, Brianna took the stand again and they continued to cross-examine. Today, she talked a lot about drug use and how they had done it together and that she still hung out with Diddy and Cassie after the incident. She said she wanted to remain cool with Diddy and she was still friends with Cassie. Defense was trying to say the situation never happened and that she got the dates even wrong. They were trying to say that Diddy was somewhere else on the date she said this happened, and she admitted that she could have the dates mixed up, but that it definitely happened. Once she was done with her cross-examination, it was lunchtime, and once the jurors left the room, that's when the judge told Diddy that he was going to kick him out of the courtroom if he didn't stop making eyes and gestures towards the jurors. The judge said that he witnessed Diddy watching the jurors, making eye contact, and nodding his head vigorously when Brianna was being cross-examined by his lawyers. One of the courtroom artists, whose job is to draw Diddy during trial, said that she has been watching him the whole time and that she has seen him do this constantly, making eyes and motions and things at the jurors whenever there's something that comes up. After lunch, briefly on the stand, was Enrique Santos, who's an investigative analysis for the U.S. Attorney's Office. He basically was called to testify about like cell phone data, GPS, and everything like that they've gotten from Diddy's phones, etc. Up next on the stand was a woman, again, who doesn't want to be named, so they're calling her Jane. She said that she was actually in a relationship with Diddy from 2021 to 2024. She said when they first met, they gave each other code names of Bert and Ernie. She talked about a situation in 2020 when they were on a Miami trip where he apparently gave a group of girls a pink substance. She went through the whole story about how they even got this pink substance. She went to some guy's house with him, some studio, and she even asked, "Is this safe?" And they basically looked at her like she was nuts, and they were like, "Of course it is." Then they go back and he gives this pink substance to these girls. She testified that their first date was 5 days long and that she fell head over heels for him. She said he was the sweetest, most loving. They made love, just had a wonderful time. She said in February, so not long after this, they ended up going to Turks and Caicos, and she talked about the drug use. She said she was walking down the beach and he handed her this pill. She didn't know what it was. She said that she took it and it hit her and she flipped out. She said she dropped to the beach. She was freaking out. She said she was asking him to help her and he took her back to the shower to calm her down. She said they started taking it every day and she would take smaller doses. She said that he was giving her ecstasy. She said, and I quote, "It made me feel relaxed, euphoric, sexual, even more loving. It lasted about 12 hours. After the 12 hours, I would say we would take something to relax or to go to bed." She said for the first 3 months of the relationship, everything was consensual, and she said she really enjoyed their sex life. She said there was lots of baby oil involved and there was always drugs. Every time they got together, they were taking drugs. Then she began tearing up as she recounted her first freak off. She said she remembers it well. It was in May, and he asked her if she wanted to basically be with another man. He said he could set it up that night. She was on the spot. She said she didn't know what to do, so she agreed. She said they got to the hotel and she could see his assistants setting up the room. She said the room was just bustling with people setting everything up and getting things ready for this. And she said that it basically opened a Pandora's box of sexual activity for her. She said, "Just completely set the tone for our relationship going forward. I felt like it was a door I wanted to shut." She said after this first time, 90% of their sexual relationships was with another man in these freak offs. And when asked, she said she didn't want it and she would often tell him she did not want to do this, but it's all he wanted to do. She was quoted again as saying, "I was agreeable because I wanted him to be happy, turn him on, and satisfy my partner." She was a single mother and he was paying her rent. She felt like she had no choice but to continue doing this. That was the end of day 15. Day 16 will be next. Make sure you hit follow.